always the hardest part of starting these things.
What is the hardest part?
Starting them.
I guess we'll see.
It's
how
like,
it
what do
goes.
you say?
Yeah, we'll
But maybe we just go in right with it. Yeah, so I have the pleasure of talking to Jussi Markkanen, the general manager, owner of SaiPa, the hockey team that I've been doing a podcast about and trying to get going for this past year. Anybody that knows me knows I'm a big fan, so this is a very big deal for me. So I'm just going to pick Jussi's brain. We have a very important week coming up. It was a very successful weekend, 6-0 win against Jupp, who possibly might not make the playoffs this year, which is quite interesting.
It is. It's sometimes there's big surprises in this league, and it kind of tells that there's a lot of good teams in the league. And obviously, Jupp was one of, maybe not a favorite, but one of the teams a lot of people picked up in the top 4 or top 6, and now they're fighting for a player spot, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, there was a hat trick on Saturday as well. Tyler Morley.
Yes.
Didn't see many hats get thrown on the ice though. That's not a thing that's going on in Finland during hat tricks.
Oh, it's so cold outside. We try to keep our hats on, but no, it's not the same kind of tradition that you guys in Canada or NHL have.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that brings me right into something that I've been interested in since I've been watching SaiPa for as many years I've been in Finland now. Is SaiPa seems to be every year bringing in pretty good, talented players from North America. And they come, let's go back to McIntyre, Rao, Salcido. Now we have Morley and Canuck and, Kitchen that you got this year also, Kitchen. Is it that you're scouting out there, or how are you attracting these players? Because just to finish my point, it seems after 2 years that they go on and make more money elsewhere in Europe or at KHL. So is this a stepping off point for them?
I think it's part of the whole strategy of SaiPa, that we try to bring in. Doesn't matter if it's a Canadian player, but let's say Finnish players. We feel like we are a good spot to develop players. We wish that we can keep them a little longer than 2 years, but first of all, I think it's tough for us to get the best Finnish players here. That's why we need to fill those holes in the lineup with the imports most likely, and it's really important to us that we get quality imports. And maybe the success that our imports have had a few years back, you mentioned Rao and McIntyre and a bunch of other guys. I think that kind of helps us also, that the people, that our players who coming here, they kind of know the history of what the maybe Canadian-born players have had in SaiPa, and they feel that it is maybe a good step in their career to come to Europe for a little bit smaller club first, and maybe get that bounce to the KHL or back to NHL after that good season here. So
well, you mentioned it's hard for you to get Finnish players here. Is that because of the area that SaiPa's in?
No, I would say the best Finnish players, obviously. I guess the first NHL picks them.
Oh, okay.
Then we have a KHL.
Sorry, I was talking about the younger players.
Yeah. I mean, younger players we will get, but obviously, usually we get younger players that we have to maybe develop them a year or two, and then hopefully we can keep them a third year or fourth year, and they can be our top players. But meanwhile, we feel like we have to fill those few important spots with the imports that we can't. It have been tough, at least in the past, to us to find, let's say, the national team quality Finnish players, because.
But you have had a couple years of success with that, like Urho and Virtanen winning World Juniors this year that plays for SaiPa.
Yes, and I think that's a good kind of. I think that goes to our benefit, that we can show actually some results too, that we trust those young players and we develop them not just to the better teams in Europe, but those young talents go to the NHL, and I think that's a big part. You mentioned earlier about the scouting. Our our sports chief Antti Tuomenoksa does a good job for finding those players.
I mean, I've even heard rumors teams have tried to steal him maybe from you guys, but he's happy here. Is that?
I guess that's a question you have to ask from him. so far, he been here for a good amount of years, and well, you never know what's going to happen in the future. But we definitely been happy to have him here.
Something I've noticed while watching is that you barely see any trades that go on between teams in Liga. It's mostly loans, or they're buying them in off season, and sometimes they're even signing when they're still playing playoffs for, let's say, a team here. It happened with a certain player a couple of years ago, SaiPa, and then the fans start wondering about their playing, and are they already put one foot out? But is can you trade in Liga? Can you trade players?
I mean, you can trade players, but at least this year was usually there's more trades in the deadline.
Yeah.
This year, which was kind of a good thing, that the league was really even up, and there was only maybe Assat who was who knew for sure that they are not going to make a playoff. So teams were really not giving up the players.
But
so
they're more like selling players. They're not trading to get any value back on them.
Yeah, it depends. We try to make a couple things that we try to get something back, but it didn't work, so we didn't want to give up any players just for free. So I think in Europe it's a little different market.
Of course.
It's more about you say selling players, but it's not. We don't have a drafting system or anything like that.
That's true.
So we have to basically pick up the players from the free agent market all the time.
Is it possible to ever, do you think, have a drafting system in Finland? And here's my reason why. It's because basically what I've been seeing is you have these big money teams like Karpat and Tapparan TPS, and Karpat basically has half of Finland to pick from with players. In a way, I don't know if that's so true. In a way.
Yeah.
And they have a lot more money, so the competition seems to go there for development. But what if you had, like they do in like Canadian leagues with these, bantam drafts and things like that, where you could draft these players? I don't know, maybe the system isn't designed for that, but
at least not for now. I'm just
Is that something you'd like to see?
I think there's a lot of problems. In a perfect world, maybe yes, but at the same time, I guess to bring 18-year-old kid out from wherever he lives to other side of Finland.
Plus you have military.
Other side of Finland, and then pay him almost nothing. I don't think that doesn't work that way. Then you should have a minimum salaries, I think it works great in NHL or wherever because there's those teams and a lot of players comes from different areas than NHL cities, and then there's a bigger money involved. The people rather move far away when you see that you can. Obviously, you follow your dream. You want to be a hockey player, but at the same time, you have to have a decent life. You have to pay your rent. So so that's the other part of that. So it's not that easy to make that decision.
So do you find that, I mean, from a fan's point of view, of course, we're very critical. Do you find that teams like Karpat, is it boring that, Karpat is the, what makes them so good, and how do teams like SaiPa, who have such passionate fan base, you bring in good players, you have a good team, and I mean, especially with goaltending now, and that's up, that's what you know a lot about. And what is how do you make it more compatible? More people can compete better, so we're not seeing the same finals every year. Is it a problem, or I mean, it's annoying for fans, and I'm not saying it's like the Yankees, but it's the same thing every year. It seems.
I understand the point, but at the same time, for me, it's more that those couple teams do the job better than anybody else. So obviously you can always say that they have a little more money, which they do, but Asset have won a championship.
That's true.
HBK have won a championship. Yup. Kalpa was in the final.
Yeah. It's not impossible.
Pelicans was in the final. So there's a lot of teams. So we believe that SaiPa can be one of them. Maybe not every year, but let's say in a 5-year period.
I mean, it's been
you can
excellent.
have one excellent year, and you can be in the top 3, top 2 teams.
Of course, and they've been close. This season is incredible with how close the points are, and how the race is going back. Now it's even down. SaiPa doesn't have a chance to get out of to the 6th spot now, but how tight it is, I don't think it's been this tight in a long time.
No.
And even with 88 points for SaiPa, that used to get you into the top 6.
At least you should just over 90 points usually.
Yeah, they'll get over 90 obviously.
But I guess, if you take out Kärpät, which have been going from victory to another, but other than that, it was pretty open race from 2nd, 3rd place to the 11th, 12th. So it's have been, I think it's have been fun for the players to play kind of games that that all those points mean a lot. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've even heard, the players are pretty passionate and excited about making this run. Yeah. And I think we expect them to get out of the Sally playoffs, no problem. But there's something I've been talking about on some of my podcasts, and I put it to a visual board now. So I just want to get your idea on something. This is Bobby's 2-conference system. Yeah. So basically, it's an idea that I've had, and it's 60 games still. You make an East and a West you can see an East and a West conference. Now, the idea behind this is that you play 48 or 40 games between each conference, and if you do 48, you have 12 interconference, or if you do 20 interconference. And this saves your travel costs for your team a little bit. You're playing a lot more rivalry games, but the only problem is there's no 16th team at the moment. And I don't see, if Jokeri, they're never going to come back, and it seems Espo's team is having struggles. But then the idea would be that playoffs would be top 3 go in automatically, and the 4 and 5 play each other for the 4th spot, and then you do the 1-1-1. So it's still the same amount of teams making the playoffs. It's just that the top of the East plays the top of the West. Something to think about. It's interesting.
Obviously, we have been thinking a lot, and I mean, in Finnish hockey, there's a lot of talks about the system and about how many games we should play, and how we get it even more excited for the fans and for the players. Haven't find the right we haven't find a better system yet, so we have been going.
There's an idea for you.
There's one idea, so I can copy that, and
you're welcome
take it to the board. So we'll see.
I think for me, it's just because it's so exciting when we are going to Koko games or Pelican games and things like that, and then it's less traveling for the teams. I mean, I'm not worried about Kärpät, their travel costs. They can deal with it. But I don't know. I really think it's an interesting idea. But yeah, then also with Jokeri, do you ever see them coming back to Liga? They're losing a lot of money right now. They're Russian owned. You played a little bit of time there also.
I played a little bit. I think it's obviously. I would say no one knows.
No one knows. Yeah.
They, if I understood right, they signed a new deal to stay in KHL for. Was it another 4 years or something like that? So, if I remember right, I think there's a lot of like you mentioned that who knows, because somebody have to pay those bills. So, if that somebody decide not to, then who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I mean, I guess they are pretty committed to playing KHL, but I think it's up. It's.
Do you miss having them in the league? Do you think the league misses having them in the league?
I think we're missing having another team from Helsinki or Helsinki area, because there's so many people live in the area. I think there's a fan base. There's 2 teams in Tampere, so there's only one team in Helsinki, which is kind of weird. But it is what it is. I mean, for SaiPa, there's always like if you look at the numbers and which teams brings the most spectators, there always been IFK and KK and obviously Jokerit when it was here, and Kärpät a little bit. So
my first game that I went to was the Jokerit SaiPa, and that's why I fell in love with the SaiPa. Was that, well, they won that game, number one, and then I looked over to the fan section and I just said, no, I'm only going to be there from now on, because that seems exciting. That's like a college hockey atmosphere. What do the fans bring to you? You played many years for SaiPa, and it's such a small arena that when it's sold out or when it's playoffs, I mean, you step away from the fan section and the whole place is just, echoing with the noise. It has to help the team in those big games, or does it? Does it the fans? I mean, how do we help?
Oh, for sure. I mean, as a player, you recognize when the building is pumping and when the people are excited about the game, and it's really, even that building can go very loud in the playoffs, and it's over 4,000 fans in that building. It always be a special atmosphere, because like you said, it's like you call it a college.
Well, before that was my only experience with that. Thing.
It's they are passionate for sure, and obviously they feel like we have a chance to have some success, and they living the same dream than we are, and we're hoping to bring that success one of these years. Hopefully this year.
Right. And a new arena is coming, or what do you know about the new arena for SaiPa?
Oh.
Or what you can say about it, at least.
I know it's in the process.
Yeah.
I know that we can't play much longer in this arena. That's for sure. It comes to an end. And I think city knows that, and they are working on a plan that in the near future, hopefully in 3 years, we can play in a new building, and can make another step as an organization. We used to be a very small team. Now we're growing up, and maybe be around in the middle of the group, and we're pushing to get bigger.
And you seem to be turning a profit every year for the past few years, at least.
Past few years we've been profitable, and obviously that's the key to have some success in the future.
Absolutely.
That you can count on that you're able to compete. Is obviously you have to have a fan base and you have to have a decent team, but it helps that you don't have to work on all the time that somebody's behind your back to asking when you're gonna pay your bills and when you're gonna do that. So people before me and this organization have done a good job to kind of having it for full all the people in Lappeenranta and the companies and the city, and it's kind of we do this together, and not just one man or one office here. It's a Lappeenranta thing.
Yeah. When you look at we have the playoffs coming up, so I'm sure you're focused on that first, but then there's a lot of contracts that are ending this year.
Yes.
There's so where do you see now? Of course, that's okay. Playoffs, we're hoping that they go far, and that's the expectation with this team because it's a great team. What are your goals for the next few years as being as managing this team, and what do you see with these players' contracts, and what kind of team are we going to see in the next couple of years?
Well, we definitely want to compete every year. We're planning to get bigger and get more success than last few years, and that's our goal. You don't maybe you don't succeed every year, but I guess we're pushing for it. That in a 3-5 year period we're a little little more competitive than in the last 3-4 years. So it will come.
Yeah, but you have a good system, so
we feel like we are able to have success. Everything has to go our way. Obviously, we have to be healthy. Our best players have to be our best players, but we feel like we have a lot of people in the right places. So looking forward to our future, and obviously now it's time. A couple more games and then playoffs, which is the most important time for hockey players and for the organization. And then at the same time you're planning your future. But when we're talking about the players and player contracts, obviously we have some contracts what we haven't announced, but people are working.
So there's some surprises coming.
Surprises, I don't know what surprise is, but we definitely be competitive next year too.
Okay, well that's really exciting and good to hear. Right now the NHL. You played in the NHL. You were in the Stanley Cup Finals, and the last thing I want to talk about a little bit is the NHL players right now with Finnish players. It seems like it's the best time ever for Finnish players in the NHL. That they're just on the top of everything. Oh, yeah. But that's the Olympics that we had. There was no NHL players in the Olympics. And so I think that now, like in the next couple of years, if the NHL players go back to the Olympics, Finland has a chance, big time, with the players that they have to make it. Do you think, with your experience in the NHL, and you kind of have worked with the NHLPA, of course, as being a player, do you see the players being able to come back? Because it seems that they were pushing their own tournament first, and then kind of that's why they didn't have them go to the Olympics.
I don't know much about those negotiations, but I bet that all the players want to play in Olympics at least
it's the biggest tournament
once in their career.
Right.
And on that point, I think it will happen.
Right.
In near future, if not the next one, then the one after
that.
But like you said about Finnish players, it's pretty awesome that so many young players develop so quickly, and it kind of tells something about our Liga too, that those young players who come here and play 18-year-old kids play in our league, and here's little complaining that this league is not so good anymore because all those 18-year-old kids can play here. Then year after they play in the NHL, and nobody complains that the NHL is getting a little rusty and not so good anymore. So
just a couple years ago, it was you had Laine here and Aho and Puudujarvi and other countless ones. I mean, you're watching them play here for the price that we pay for tickets, and future NHL stars, and people are saying the league is weak. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah. I think we should be even more proud of that they. It's Finnish teams, Finnish Liga teams who develop those players to a certain level, and then obviously they keep going when they get the bigger surface to the NHL that they can contribute there. It's amazing.
Predictions for playoffs? I mean, I know you have to say certain things, but
predictions.
I mean, most likely the way I'm looking at it, it's Ilves, SaiPa, and the Sali playoffs, and they have a pretty dang good coach over there also, but we have an awesome coach as well. It could be a tough battle, and then once you get out of the playoffs, you're playing Karpad or Tappara. What's new?
Oh, nothing is new. We obviously are in a situation that we can't pick our opponent, basically.
Right.
We're pushing for starting at home, obviously.
Yeah.
I think we're in the same points that Ilves right now, and 2 games left. So who knows? I think pretty much all those teams who we could face is pretty similar. I mean, we won some, we lose some.
Yeah,
it's pretty tight.
In a 7-game series, it's possible to get out of them no matter what.
Yeah, we feel like we can compete against any of those.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we have to do our best, because Ilves have had a good ride lately. Lukko have been good. A lot of those teams have been really good lately, and you talk about Tappara and those, but Pelicans are pretty close to
but
second.
I mean, do we want to talk about Pelicans?
We don't need to talk about
exactly.
anything, but I'm just saying that it's pretty tight still. That
and Hopeko has had a heck of a season this year as well.
Yes, it's a lot of good stories.
It should be very good playoffs no matter what happens. But well, I don't want to keep you too much longer. Thank you. I mean, this is out of my expectations for this little thing that I'm trying to do. You responded quickly. Thank you for your service for all of us SaiPa fans. And yes, I'll be doing a playoff preview on Thursday with my friend Janne from Ule.
Nice.
We'll do it from O'Leary's Forum, where I normally do it. That's the SaiPa fan bar in Helsinki. You've been there after some games.
Yes, I was there.
Some good times. Good luck in the playoffs. We'll be watching. I'm coming this weekend, no matter if it's Saturday or Sunday. So I'll be here rooting. Somehow I had the weekend off, so lucky me. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.
Have an awesome day.
You too.
Thanks
A lot for having me.